looking everywhere, that's how the story goes. Grab your gear, hold on tight, it's a wild ride ahead in the zombie story zone.
Welcome to the Zombie Story Zone, the ultimate destination for thrilling tales of the undead. Today, we bring you a chilling Christmas special, the Frostbitten Horde. In this gripping story, ancient Arctic zombies rise from the icy depths to threaten Santa's workshop and the very magic of Christmas itself. Will Santa and his allies stop the undead horde, or will the world face a frozen apocalypse? Stay tuned to find out. Before we dive in, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and press the bell icon to stay updated with all our latest stories. If you enjoyed this tale, don't forget to share it with your friends, the more, the merrier. We'd also love to hear from you. Let us know in the comments what you think about this story and how we can make our channel even better for you. Now, sit back, relax, and prepare for a frosty fight for survival.
From the graveyards to the streets, hear the whispers low. Every story's a thrill, come and let your courage show.
The Arctic winds howled like tormented spirits across the frozen tundra, whipping up crystalline flurries under a sun that barely skimmed the horizon. The North Pole, the place of eternal magic and mystery, was shrouded in an eerie quiet, broken only by the crunch of boots against the snow. Elliot tightened his parka and surveyed the icy wasteland. As scientist stationed at Polar Outpost Alpha, he had been tasked with studying ice core samples that predated human civilization. But lately, strange things had been happening. The northern lights, usually a ribbon of gentle green and purple, now pulsed erratically, painting the night sky with streaks of angry red. Radio signals flickered and died, and the temperature had plummeted to record lows even for the Arctic. Anything yet, Elliot, came the crackling voice of Dr. Nadine Carter through his comms. Nothing but more ice and snow, Elliot replied, his breath fogging up the visor of his helmet. But as he turned, his foot struck something solid beneath the snow. He crouched, brushing away the frost. What he uncovered wasn't ice, it was flesh. Pale, leathery skin stretched over a skeletal hand, its fingers frozen in a claw-like grasp. Elliot recoiled, nearly slipping on the ice. His heart hammered in his chest as he unearthed more of the figure. The body was ancient, dressed in tattered furs, its empty eye sockets staring skyward. Nadine, you might want to see this. The Awakening. Back at the outpost, the team gathered around the corpse in the lab. It lay on a metal table, its desiccated frame preserved by centuries of ice. This is incredible, Nadine murmured, brushing a strand of auburn hair from her face. The clothing suggests it's pre-Viking, maybe even older. But there's something odd about the tissue. Odd, Elliot asked, sipping a mug of bitter coffee. It's too well preserved. At these temperatures, cellular degradation should have been more advanced. But this, she gestured to the body, this is almost alive. A low hum filled the room, and the lights flickered. The team froze. Not again, muttered Ivan, the outpost engineer. He tapped at the control panel. Down power grid's been acting up ever since that storm. Before anyone could respond, the corpse twitched. A collective gasp filled the room. The hand moved first, its bony fingers curling into a fist. Then the head jerked to the side, its jaw creaking open in a soundless scream. The hollow sockets began to glow with a sickly blue light. Get back, Elliot shouted, grabbing Nadine and pulling her away. Santa's last hope. Miles away, in the heart of the North Pole, Santa Claus sat at a massive oak desk, poring over his naughty and nice lists. His workshop, a sprawling network of candy-colored buildings, was a hive of activity as elves prepared for the Christmas rush. But the jolly atmosphere was tense this year. Santa had felt it to the disturbance in the air, the unnatural chill that seeped into the walls of his workshop. Something's coming, he muttered, stroking his silver beard. Boss, an elf burst into the room, his green tunic streaked with soot. We've got a situation at the perimeter. Santa rose to his full height, towering over the diminutive elf. What kind of situation? The elf hesitated, You'd better see for yourself. Santa followed the elf to the observation deck. Through a pair of enchanted binoculars, he scanned the snowy plains surrounding the workshop. What he saw made his heart sink. A horde of figures was shambling toward the workshop, their bodies frozen and grotesque. Some dragged broken limbs, others moved with eerie coordination. Their eyes glowed with the same blue light that had haunted the outpost. The Frostbitten Horde, Santa murmured. You know what they are, the elf asked, his voice trembling. Ancient guardians of the Arctic, Santa explained grimly. Bound by magic to protect the ice, something or someone has awakened them. Can we stop them? Santa's eyes hardened. We must. If they reach the workshop, Christmas is over. And worse, so is the world. The battle begins. Elliot and Nadine, fleeing the outpost in a snowcat, saw the horde from a distance. What the hell is that? Nadine whispered, her voice barely audible over the roar of the engine. Nothing good, Elliot replied. He adjusted their course toward the only landmark inside a plume of smoke rising from the North Pole's industrial complex. As they approached, the snowcat skidded to a halt. A squad of elves, armed with candy cane spears and peppermint grenades, surrounded them. The creature bolted upright, its movements unnaturally fast. It let out a guttural snarl, leaping from the table with a strength that defied its frail appearance. Ivan lunged for a fire axe, but the thing was on him before he could swing. Blood sprayed across the lab as the creature tore into Ivan's throat. Nadine screamed, and Elliot grabbed a metal stool, swinging it with all his might. The blow connected, sending the creature sprawling, but not before Ivan's blood began to pool on the floor. We need to get out of here, Elliot yelled, dragging Nadine toward the exit. Identify yourselves, barked a grizzled elf with a scar running down his cheek. We're scientists, Elliot shouted, raising his hands. Our outpost was attacked. We know, the elf interrupted. You've led the horde straight to us. Wait, what? Nadine said. The elf gestured to the distance, where the Frostbitten Horde was closing in. You woke them up, didn't you? We didn't mean to, Elliot protested. That thing came to life on its own. Enough, the elf waved them into the complex. Santa will decide what to do with you. The final stand. Inside the workshop, chaos reigned. Elves scrambled to assemble weapons while others fortified the walls with enchanted barriers. Santa stood at the center of the command room, issuing orders. When Elliot and Nadine were brought before him, Santa regarded them with a mixture of sadness and resolve. You've unleashed a great evil, he said, but perhaps you can help us stop it. How? Nadine asked. Santa gestured to a massive book on the table. The Arctic's magic is ancient, older than Christmas itself. The Frostbitten Horde can only be defeated by severing their connection to the ice. Elliot frowned. And how do we do that? We melt it. Santa explained his plan. A massive energy surge from the workshop's geothermal core would create a heatwave strong enough to destabilize the horde. But it would require precise timing and someone to manually trigger the core. I'll do it, Elliot volunteered. No way, Nadine said. We're in this together. Very well, Santa said. But be warned, the horde will stop at nothing to protect their source of power. You'll have to face them head-on. Into the storm. As the geothermal core rumbled to life, the workshop's defenses were overwhelmed. The Frostbitten Horde breached the outer walls, their icy claws tearing through steel and magic alike. Elliot and Nadine fought their way to the core, armed with enchanted weapons provided by the elves. The air grew colder with every step, their breath freezing in midair. Keep moving, Elliot shouted, hacking at a zombie with a candy cane sword. Nadine lobbed a peppermint grenade, its explosion scattering frostbitten limbs across the corridor. We're almost there. They reached the control room, but the horde was right behind them. Elliot began the activation sequence while Nadine held the line, her hands trembling as she fired bolts of magical energy from an elven crossbow. Come on, Elliot muttered, his fingers flying over the controls. The room filled with a deafening roar as the core reached critical mass. A wave of heat surged outward, melting the ice and vaporizing the horde. The creatures let out one final, unearthly will be for collapsing into lifeless heaps. A Christmas saved. When the heat wave subsided, the workshop was in ruins, but the horde was no more. Santa and his elves worked tirelessly to rebuild, their spirits buoyed by the knowledge that Christmas had been saved. Elliot and Nadine stood at the edge of the Arctic tundra, watching the northern lights return to their usual serene colors. "You think anyone will believe us?" Nadine asked. Elliot chuckled. "Probably not, but that's okay." Santa approached them, his red coat singed but his smile intact. "You've done a great service today. The world owes you a debt of gratitude." Elliot nodded. "Just promise us one thing." "Anything," Santa said. "Keep the ice where it belongs." Santa laughed, his booming voice echoing across the tundra. "That, my friends, I can do."
Oh, where the brave don't